Good morning. Welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I am Chair Commissioner Krista Yoakum. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Sean Flowerday. To my far right is Commissioner Roma Amundson. To my left, Commissioner Rick Vest. And to my far left, Commissioner Matt Schulte. Please stand with us and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, you may begin with the location announcement.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to our first item, minutes. Item 1A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on August 29th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 1B, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners budget public hearing held on August 29th, 2023.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2, claims. 2A, approval of the claims processed through September 5th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2B, approval of a claim including billing goods and services beyond the 90-day time period provided in Nebraska Revised Statute 23-135 for Encompass dated August 24th, 2023 for a total amount of $53,164.75.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this claim. Please call the roll. Oh, yes.
So this agenda item makes it look like we're buying a $53,000 table. Because the way I think it's written, I had done some checking into it. Turns out that's just the first line of about, 100 lines here. So I'd just like to give this to the clerk and ask him to add it to the, just so people in the public are clear, we're not buying a $53,000 table.
Really, this is a final, kind of a whole project
Yes.
budget that we are,
Yeah,
claim that we're
there's a lot of
approving here.
furniture for the sheriff's department for a partial remodel they were working on, so.
So we have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any single member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts. C-16-0528 with Information First Incorporated for professional services to support the county's upgrade from HP Records Manager V9.3 to Content Manager V23.3. 2, C-19-0783 with U.S. Bank for the annual services of remote deposit capture services. 3, C-20-0663 with Safety Clean Systems to provide the annual service of used oil collection program. B, right-of-way contracts with the following: Marvin Mueller Family Farms, South 162nd Street and A Street, in the amount of $9. Diane A. Ossenkop, South 148th Street and A Street, in the amount of $235. Chuck Schwab Investments, LLC, West Pellow Road and Southwest 58th Street, the amount of $1,112.50. Ryan and Sarah Axman, North 70th Street and Branch Oak Road, in the amount of $2,035. Joetta M. and Darren K. Schweringer, Southwest 128th Street and West Hallam Road, in the total amount of $567.50. Billy and Desiree Rosales, North 70th Street and Branch Oak Road, in the amount of $1,925. David Benz, North 27th Street and Agnew Road, in the amount of $3,430. Lois J. Rondale et al., North 70th Street and Branch Oak Road, in the amount of $325. And C, received and placed in file the following reports for August 2023: Clerk of the District Court, Assessor Register of Deeds, and County Clerk.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to our public hearings. Our first public hearing is a street name change, 23003, to rename a portion of South 96th Street to South 96th Street Circle.
We will now open the public hearing regarding the street name change.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name.
Steve Hendrickson with Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. This is a very simple street name change that was missed when we did a whole package of South Beltway street name changes. This is South 96th Street, which no longer is a through street in this location, and is changing it to a circle. We first checked with the property owners to see if they wanted to vacate it, and neither did, and neither had any objections to it. There are no houses, no buildings on it. There's just two property owners, so pretty straightforward.
Any questions?
You said you checked the property owners about vacation. Is there a reason we should consider vacating it though still?
At this point, that would be a whole separate process in terms of implications, so at least we wanted to get it started with that it was 60th Street, South 96th, the circle. But that is certainly something we could look at in the future.
Any other questions? Is there anyone else here to testify on this street name change? Anyone for, against, or neutral? We will now close the public hearing. Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to our next public hearing. Applications for a Class I liquor license for James Arthur Vineyards, LLC, and a corporate manager's liquor license for James Ballard.
We will now open this public hearing regarding the Class I liquor license.
Good morning.
You have to swear in. Thank
Yep.
you. Please, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Ballard, 1503 West Raymond Road with James Arthur Vineyards. For the last 26 years, the Farm Winery Act allows us only to sell what we make, which I'm perfectly happy with. We've always been excited to promote Nebraska wine. However, the legislature this past session passed a bill that will allow farm wineries to serve other alcoholic beverages. So that's what this is. A Class I is basically on sale only. My idea right now is we were just going to do Nebraska products. So if somebody comes out and they want to do a fundraiser at the winery and they want to add beer, and we get a lot of questions about that, and we've always pretty much turned that down. We've done a few SDLs for live music and things like that. But if somebody comes and says, hey, we want to do a beer instead, which I have no idea why they wouldn't want to drink wine, but that's okay. We could do that with this Class I and other drinks. And again, my plan is just to do and promote Nebraska-made products, and that's really what we strive to do at all times. So the other thing about this, last week we talked about the Special Events Center. This would eliminate me, I like you guys, but this would eliminate me coming before you every time asking for an SDL to do other things besides our wine. And you see later on the agenda, I did apply for 3 SDLs coming up because I wasn't sure if this was going to happen before then. So that's why the 2 of them are there. So that's basically the idea behind the Class I license.
Thank you for that explanation. And we have been watching this situation and knew this was coming up. Is there anyone else here to speak regarding this application? Yes.
I would just comment, Jim, thank you for being here.
Yes,
This
sir.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Oh,
Those are
thank
pretty
you.
fancy.
I got a few if you want one. I could probably grab one for you.
So just as a layperson, on sale was the term you used. That means just on
Just
site.
on property, so you couldn't come in, buy a six-pack to go. It's just, and that's what we're not a liquor store. We wanted just to opt for that other opportunity, so it's just on sale only, or on site only.
Just adds to the
Yep.
venue options that
Correct.
people can enjoy when they come to your
Correct.
facility. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You had mentioned that this is the Class I, and then down below we got some other things. So if we approve this today, then do we need to do the special designation license as well? Does
Yes,
anybody know?
because it has to still go through the state process. You know,
Okay.
I think I probably have to go in front of the state and talk to them about this, so yeah, they still have to approve it.
Okay.
Our approval today is just one piece of
Correct.
the step,
Correct.
one part of the process. Okay. Anyone else here to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll now close the public hearing.
Thank you.
That moves us to new business, item 5A, resolution in the matter of street name change 23003 to rename a portion of South 96th Street to South 96 Circle.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5B, resolution in the matter of applications for Class I liquor license for James Arthur Vineyards LLC and a corporate manager's liquor license for James Ballard.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 5C, resolution in the matter of exceeding the budgeted restriction funds limit for the 2023-2024 fiscal year by an additional 1%.
All right, good morning, Dennis Meyer, County Budget and Fiscal Director. Two items today is just to kind of clean up the budget process. This resolution here deals with the lid. The lid has the ability to grow by 2.5% plus an additional 1% if the board votes that in. The one thing that I always kind of want to mention on the lid and the calculation and stuff like that, because some people will be concerned that the additional 1% is hitting property taxes and it's going to drive it up. And what I just want to remind everybody is this is just letting our base amount grow by an additional 1%. So if we do need it sometime down the road, our base amount has grown by that amount. We've talked property taxes for probably, 4 or 5 months now. We really haven't talked about the lid at all because I never focus on the lid because that doesn't drive the amount of property taxes we need. So this is just setting us up for future purposes. And I just want to make sure that we sit here and we understand that it is not driving property tax up by additional 1% this year.
Dennis, of all the political subdivisions that you're aware of, where does Lancaster County rank in terms of new property tax growth collection? Because we're 4%, right?
Yeah, we're at 4%.
Are we the lowest of all the ones you're aware of?
I'm not for sure on all of them, but we've got to be one of the lowest ones.
Right.
By having it at 4%, that does keep us out of that property tax request hearing. And so on numbers that I've gotten back, it's probably about a 50-50 split between who's going to be attending the hearing and who will not be attending the hearing. So,
Of all the ones I've seen, we're the lowest, which doesn't mean that there's not another out
Right.
there somewhere.
Right.
But we're sitting at about, I think we're sitting at about a half of LPS, significantly lower than the city, significantly lower than a lot of other political subdivisions. And I point this out not because it's particularly relevant to this item, but every year Lancaster County votes to raise our lid, and not every other subdivision always does it. This is how it ought to work. Local political subdivisions should have the increased flexibility, and then I just want to congratulate my colleagues and congratulate Lancaster County in general, and then it should that same local political subdivision we should maintain our flexibility and our independence, and then at the same time, use good prudence, use good fiscal management to keep taxes low. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. I'm very pleased with this, and I absolutely think we should increase it by the 1% on the lid.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
No.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Item 5D, resolution in the matter of approving the Lancaster County budget for the 2023-24 fiscal year.
All right, this is the approval of the budget document. Last Tuesday, we held the budget hearing, and kind of talked about that. The attachment A that I've got set up out there right now just shows one change from the proposed budget that was established the end of July, and the one change that we had in there was just because of the possibility of some additional improvement grants. We increased the other contracted services by $1,075,000, and we decreased the cash reserve by that same amount, just to give us spending authority in that fund, depending on what's going to happen with that granting opportunity that's there. So that was the one and only change that we had determined from July at that time.
I would move we approve the budget with one modification, and that came about late last week. I became aware of the fact that a position that we had denied during the budget process was now being added into the county assessor's budget, and the way it was being funded was to reduce the appraiser staff, which isn't all that large, but it would be a significant drop in the number of appraisers in that office. I'm opposed to that move, and I think we discussed the new position at length, and the board voted against that. So I'm proposing that we approve the budget with the modification that we reduce the assessor's budget by the salary of one appraiser's position.
Yeah, I really agree with this, and I'm going to second this motion. I feel pretty strongly that, you know, it's just not, it's not reasonable to have directors going around, and if they get denied in the budget process and something, going and, you know, reducing other staff positions to still get their way in the budget process. I can't condone that, and so I second this and really support it.
Wait, so tell me again, explain that to me again, Rick, just so I can understand.
And it came about very late, and there was a position in the appraisers department for an assistant to the deputy that was before us when we were reevaluating all the new positions. We denied that. You know, the board evaluated and approved some and denied this one. Later on, late last week, it came to my attention that the appraiser's office had gone to HR and said, we want to add this position, and we're vacating an appraiser's position to pay for it. Under normal circumstances, elected officials have a lot of discretionary powers, how they operate their department. But we approved that budget based on a certain number of appraisers who now they aren't going to have because they're vacating a position. I would bet a cup of coffee that at mid-year budget we'll be seeing a request for an additional appraiser. So that's why I've made the motion to
Yeah, just to add to that, several years ago, you know, we sort of had a rash of reclassifications, not in this department, but in other departments that came about shortly after budget, and it's just, we can't play games around the budget like this. It just can't be done. So I'm in support of this.
I didn't know where the board could micromanage elected offices.
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't realize the board could micromanage elected offices.
The board has budgetary authority. The board absolutely can set the budget and absolutely can establish the number of FTE requests.
We're not asking for additional FTEs.
Right, you got denied the FTE and now you're going around it.
We're not going around it, we're reclassifying.
And reclassification like, we just did
then
this,
we'll
we just
drop-
did this, Dan, we just did this 2 years ago. We had a rash of reclassifications, and this board made its opinion very clear that it didn't
I
think
don't know
that
why
was
you don't come and
appropriate.
talk to me about it.
I don't know why you didn't come talk to me about it.
I sent you guys an email before the budget was finalized. I never heard back from a one of you, not a one.
We decided not to fund that
Correct.
particular request. We got, I think it was 32, 33 FTE requests. We funded 15. 15 was higher than I
We
wanted
didn't
to
ask
go.
for an additional position. We're reclassifying. That's all we're
We
doing.
did ask for additional position, it got turned
But at
down.
this point,
did
it
not
is not
provide it.
an additional position. Initially, it was an additional position. That was denied. At this point, it is not an additional position. I won't be supporting this because it is within an elected official's purview to manage their own budget once we've approved. I get that we haven't quite approved yet, and that's the motion on the,
But if this is an issue, we will drop the ASO and we'll go back to the appraiser, which will actually cost more money, if that makes you happy. We will do that.
I absolutely think we should have more appraisers. I mean, I
And what are you basing that
I
on?
don't think this community
What are you
wants to-
basing that on? I've not seen you in the assessor's office. Have you been there to talk to me about anything? I don't recall a conversation.
Well, you've certainly turned me around on this, Dan.
If I may, if you're maintaining the same number of appraisers as you previously had, I will withdraw the amendment.
Our immediate need is to do some other administrative work in the office. An appraiser doesn't cover that.
May not be an immediate need, but it is.
It is an
central to the
immediate
mission.
need.
Well,
can I ask you a question? If you have immediate needs
Yes.
for this position right now, are those long-term needs?
Yes. We've got staff, GIS is maintaining website. That makes no sense. Things like that. We're trying to do some reorganization here. And I feel like you're just stymieing us every step of the way, and I don't get it.
I think I made my position clear. I don't know what more to add to it. I guess I'm just
And what are you
clarifying.
basing that on? Have you come over and talked to us about our needs? I haven't seen you over there. I've had one conversation with you in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and did you come to my office? And we can do this all
Yeah, we
day.
need
I
to
don't really
stop the
wanna get into
accusatory
this.
conversation.
What I'm saying is, if we're maintaining our staff of appraisers, I withdraw the amendment that would adjust
I
the
mean,
budget.
we've already opened the position. We have applications. I mean, I don't know why this is an issue at the last minute. You could have come to me 3
brought this
weeks
up at the
ago,
last
4
minute.
weeks ago.
And you've heard everything we said. We've been very clear here. I mean,
No one here was aware of this.
I
until
didn't
the
hear
end of-
any discussion. We brought our proposal for the position, you voted it down. Nobody asked me about it. I offered to talk with you again. Nobody got back to me.
You never email. I never got an
Commissioner
email.
There is an email.
I'm in my email right now. There's nothing from you since.
I'll resend it.
Please do. I had no idea this was even going on. I mean, it would be nice to be informed of changes.
Again.
I'm not talking to you.
Again,
I'm talking to the
I've got a real
commissioners.
problem with the board micromanaging the assessor's office. I'm an elected official. I'm there, whether you like it or not. I will run that department to the best of my ability.
The only thing that I'm going to say is that it was clear that the board was not going to hire the ASO.
That was an additional position. We're
Right.
not asking for an additional position with what we did.
Okay, right, I understand that, but what you are doing is you are vacating an assessor
appraiser.
position.
Yes.
Okay, to me, we approved the assessor positions. We did not approve the ASO.
You approved our budget.
Based upon the number of assessors,
Then take the position out.
take which position out?
The ASO, just leave it the way we had it.
That would be something that, Yeah.
If that's, okay.
That's
I-
acceptable.
that's acceptable.
I will amend
I wish
my
I knew
motion.
I wish I knew what you were basing it on.
I will amend my motion to
The-
approve the budget.
Okay, the one thing that, the city is growing. The number of developments are growing. The number of houses are growing, and everything like this. And the county, and an assessor is absolutely critical to the
And I
the
don't
business.
disagree with that, but we have other responsibilities, and those are not being met.
I have a motion.
And I will still maintain my second on the motion to approve the budget.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the budget and a second to approve the budget. Is there any further
Okay,
discussion?
now what is this?
that,
Is this,
and
is
is
this
that leaving
actually
the
received?
assessor's budget alone then?
This is,
The motion is based on that we are maintaining the same amount of appraisers and withdrawing the position change, that we approve the budget as we've discussed. No reduction.
And I
in
would ask,
budget.
in the future, when you have a concern, you come and see me. I'm across the hall, I'm there every day. And I cannot say that for some people in this building.
we have a motion and a second to approve the budget
With a rescission?
without the ASO position,
Okay.
maintaining the same number of appraisers.
Okay, yeah, all right,
Yep, and that, I second that.
okay.
Okay, please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes,
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes,
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 5E, resolution in the matter of authorizing the county board chair to sign a project agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation and DOT, and to set out various duties, funding, responsibilities for improvement on Interstate 80 from the Pleasantdale interchange to Northwest 56th Street.
Good morning, Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This agreement and the agreement that follows it are for the NDOT to do work on 4 separate bridges that cross I-80. You may or may not be aware that NDOT maintains the bridges on our roads that cross I-80, but we maintain the roads right up to the bridge. And so we do require agreements when there needs to be work done. All 4 of these bridges will require detours. NDOT has agreed to maintain and sign the detour routes for the duration of the construction.
okay.
Thank you for that
Yeah,
information.
I would move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
yes,
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes,
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 5F, agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation for improvements on Interstate 80 from Pleasantdale interchange to Northwest 56th Street, and modifications to county roads and bridges on Northwest 126th Street, Northwest 112th, Northwest 98th, and Northwest 84th Streets.
This is the same situation.
Move approval.
approval.
We have a motion
I'll second
and a
it.
second.
Was it echo?
one of them counts.
Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes,
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes,
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5G, we have a series of special designated license applications from James Arthur Vineyards at 2001 West Raymond Road, Raymond, on the following dates: October 7th, 2023, October 14th, 23, and October 15th, 2023.
long time no see.
Yeah. Thank you again. Jim Ballard, James Arthur Vineyards, 1503 West Raymond Road. 3 SDLs, 2 weddings, and a fundraiser. In fact, one of the weddings is my daughter's, so
Oh,
we're
wow.
kind of
Very
excited about that.
yes,
So,
congratulations.
kind of a trial run if we get this eye going. Let's see how we do.
The trial run with the marriage?
No, I hope not. No.
I'd move approval of the G.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve these special designated licenses applications. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes,
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes,
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5H, a special designated license application from Messiah Lutheran Foundation for an event just outside of the Lincoln city limits at 1800 South 84th Street, Lincoln, in October 7th, 2023.
Good morning. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but my name's Pastor Andrew Greer with Messiah Lutheran. And as a lifelong civil servant's kid, I want to thank you for serving. I know it's quite the task that you have, and it's kind of fun to be in these chambers again. So thanks for having me. Thank you to Megan for all your help with the paperwork. But we're just going to put an event on. It's called Lutherfest. And if you're not familiar, our facilities are in town, but we own land outside. And that was part of the process, is figuring out it is going to be in the county space we have, which we're probably going to have a longer conversation about that. But this is a fellowship event for the Messiah Lutheran Foundation. And the goal is to have a Oktoberfest style event, working with a partner here in town for adults only. We do a lot of family stuff, but this will be an adults only event. The hope is to raise awareness for the foundation that supports the church and the school and the Early Childhood Development Center. And so raise awareness and some funds, but just an opportunity to get together and kind of celebrate our German heritage with German food, and we'll have some fest beers. So we're looking forward to it. It'll be a really fun event, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the event if you have them at all.
Are you going to have polka music?
Dance floor, polka music, you got it. It's gonna be really fun. Good event.
Mark the date.
That was an important question to ask.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is this an event you guys have done in the past, or is this the first time to do
It happened many years ago, and it was smaller. This is taking a bigger form, and so it is a little bit of our tradition, but it's been many years since we've done it.
Okay.
Kind of basically first annual in many ways.
Yeah.
Exciting to have you here this morning, and I move approval.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
5-0.
Appreciate it.
Item 5I, renewal of an agreement between Lancaster County and the City of Lincoln Transportation Utilities for office space and facilities for adult probation. The term is September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2024. The cost of the county is $82,600.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this item. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 5J, agreement with Hub International Great Plains LLC to provide employee benefits consulting services for the county's employee benefits program. This is a 5-year agreement, and the county's total expenditures are an estimated $163,148.40.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this agreement. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5K, adoption of the bargaining agreement with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1536, General, for a 2-year contract.
Good morning. Nicole Gross, Human Resources. This is a 2-year contract covering approximately 250 Lancaster County employees. Some of the highlights include wage increase of 5.2% year 1, 3.2% year 2. Other items are increased comp time from 40 to 50 hours, sick leave accrual from 99 to 104 hours per year. It also includes paid parental leave of 6 weeks.
Can you just, because it's titled electrical workers, can you just tell me what kind of employees are in this group?
Yes.
Like some examples.
Yes, this union historically had been a part of our AFSCME group. They reorganized under IBEW. It is a little tricky. There aren't electrical workers in this group, but they are your clerical group that works within the city. Some of your trying to think what other classes are in there. A lot of your administrative staff are in there. Some classes that are in clerk of the district court, in some of those areas.
Sure. You just mentioned some changes to vacation, sick, paid leave. Can you just give that to me one more time?
Comp time.
Comp time, that's what it was.
Yep, went from 40 hours to 50 hours accrual. The sick leave accrual, this group is currently accruing 99 hours per year. We increased that to 104 hours.
What causes, like, what's the advantage? Why is there an increase in comp time? Because that's a 25% increase. That's pretty significant.
It's based on comparability and through negotiations, it's an agreement that we had come to between county and this union.
And how does someone use comp time?
They can, if they work overtime, then an employee can choose to put it in their comp time bank to use at a later time, or they can choose to be paid time and a half.
Okay. And then same kind of going to the sick leave as well. That's 99 hours moving to 104. Just help
Yes.
me understand that a little bit more.
That kind of brings them in line with some of our other county employees. Our unrepresented group does receive 104 hours of their accrual. And so this group asked to increase theirs also from 99 to 104.
Okay.
Were there trade-offs involved here, Nicole? Were there changes that were beneficial to Lancaster County in this contract?
Well, I think that there are trade-offs. I think that we received some language changes that are good for management, but really these are a great benefit to our county employees, and having labor peace for 2 years is a great benefit.
Yeah.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Excuse me. 5L, adoption of the summary plan description for Lancaster County, Nebraska Employees Retirement Plan.
Commissioners, a couple weeks ago, you approved changes to our base plan document that would affect certain vesting for certain employees. This is the final piece to make sure we have all the documentation in place to inform our employees of that change.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 5M, fiduciary liability coverage renewal information request for the Lancaster County, Nebraska retirement and deferred compensation plans.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5N, a subaward contract with Pine Lake Behavioral Health for the Youth Mental Health Diversion Program in the amount of $10,000.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this subaward grant. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to public comment. Those wishing to speak in items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone here today to speak on any items that are not on our agenda? Please come forward. Just state your name, sign in, and then we do have the 5-minute clock to watch.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Penny Stevens, and this morning I want to speak a little bit more about our election systems. Several weeks ago, we had the Secretary of State's office here talking about the voting machines, but there's so much more involved in our voting systems than just the electronic machines, and so I wanted to talk about that. And I just wanted to remind you that the citizens of Nebraska are at the top of the pyramid. So Last week, the Lancaster County Voting Commission was pushing for, the college students to register to vote online. And here we have a couple addresses here that I want to speak on. And then, of course, the recently voted in valid ID for voting. So when you go to that nebraska.gov to register online, here's a demonstration page, and it goes through to work the individual through the process, and they just click there whether they're a citizen or not, or whether they're of age. And then this particular form, this website, is actually monitored by the ES&S voting system. So not only are our machines, but the software, and then those who manage the information that are in the website, and all of that is taken care of by the ES&S. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. So you enter your driver's license number, and I'm going to skip over here, and I want to take this guy out. So on your voter's license, you have the star. This is to prove that you're a citizen of the United States, and then, of course, all your other information. And then it also has, the signature here. So this is all done through the DMV. So that website is connected to the DMV, okay? Also, the DMV shares information with the Census Bureau as of 2019. And I just want to show you this here as well. On the back of this, like when you go to buy like your favorite craft beer at the local store, they scan this. So they're at Hy-Vee in their system. They're able to scan this and bring up your motor vehicle information to show that you're of age. So there's another online process. In that previous article where the DMV allowed our information to be put on the U.S. Census, they state that the department takes the privacy of this information extremely serious and agree to share the data with the Bureau after reviewing state and federal laws. So I want to go back to the first page. When you register, there's a little link that you can click on called Voter View. And that's just to check the information. So when you open it up, it takes you to this website. It appears, because of this address, that you're still connected to the nebraska.gov. Here's the logo. Here's the information. The average user is going to think that they're still on a .gov website. But in reality, they're there at the ES&S website. So they're the ones that are monitoring that registration. If you look here, you go back in and you look into the page source. I did, website management for almost 10 years, so you look at codes and you know where everything is. My point being here is that there was a request made by Secretary of State for them to remove different individuals from the voting base through the Department of Motor Vehicles, and that was through ES&S.
That is your time. Thank you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. I've got a couple short, very short video clips, audio clips for you to begin.
State your name for the record.
Robert Borer, B-O-R-E-R.
Haven't seen you in a while. Have you been?
The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes. And people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea?
So my question is, where are the receipts? Where's the evidence you were actually elected? No one in the state or the county or the election office can point to an audit or a real canvass of that vote, because no one has done one. What bank teller takes the word of a depositor? Our votes are worth much more than our money. Because you have no evidence that you were ever elected, we will, or I will, from this point forward, refer to you as fakers and pretend commissioners who were selected by the swamp, through a secret black box manipulation of the vote count, because you are either weak or corrupt. I'll change my tune if you can prove to me that you were actually elected. It's a sad thing that none of you can. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during public comment? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the announcements.
The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, September 7th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing on September 19th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding the Comprehensive Plan Amendment 23009 to amend the 2050 Lincoln-Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan by adopting the Local Food System Plan. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available in Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. With that, last thing I have is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We will now begin the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, August 15th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Abstain.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Item 2 is the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is the notice of assessed valuation change for property taxation purposes for Joseph G. and Dolores A. Huffman for 2 parcels and King Brothers Real Estate LLC.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. Brian Grimm, Lancaster County Assessor, Register of Deeds. The parcels on item 3A, those were parcels that they had the wrong influence code put on the land, causing the land to go in the opposite direction that it was intended. That's why we asked for a reduction in those 2 parcels. On item 3B, that one is a little bit harder to explain. There's a lot of data that was copied over and put on the wrong parcel. And there's a significant change on that one. It's a relatively small parcel of land that should not be valued over $100 a square foot. So we asked for a reduction in that one as well.
Okay. I move approval of the change in property taxation purposes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4 is the appeal of penalty and interest on personal property from Solarion Incorporated.
Is there someone here to speak to this? Thank you, Brian.
Good morning again. This is, the personal property on this was filed in July, I believe it was the 27th of July when we received the data. State statute 77-1229 says without penalty, it's to be filed on May 1st. So we're almost 3 months behind the filing. That's why there is a mandatory penalty on the personal property for this.
So staff's recommendation is to deny the appeal.
I'm sorry?
Your recommendation is to deny the appeal?
Yes.
Okay.
Based on state statute.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny this appeal based on the state statute. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Pest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is our public hearings. First public hearing is a protest of notice and assessed valuation change for property taxation purposes filed. We have 3 properties: Jack Estates LP, Bridgeport Apartments, and Waterbrook Apartments.
We will now open the public hearing regarding these protests of notice of assessed values. Is there someone here to speak on the Jack Estates
Yes.
property?
Good morning, elected officials. Thank you.
I have to swear.
Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
first. You're good. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
My name is Matt Thomas with Dana Point Development. So this is in Waverly. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, I'm not sure what you're aware of on this, but it's 15 individual homes as a part of the Section 42 program, which is the federal program allowing for low-income individuals to have housing here. The kicker, I mean, there's lots of kickers with this, but there's a land use restriction agreement that stays in place for 45 years on this property. And so what I'm protesting is that from last year to now, there's an increase of 490% of the taxes, which is almost $62,000 of increased tax. This particular project, Jack Estates, is named after my dad, who is a veteran, and that's applicable because we designed this project to have 3 designated veteran units. And these are homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and we actually rent these nice homes for $250 to veterans. We also provide a child care subsidy for residents. and up to, if somebody needs it, up to 12 round trips of transportation if they need to go to a doctor or something and don't have the ability to do that. We also do an annual spring cleaning, which just kind of helps, brighten things up in the spring. The rents are targeted at 40% of area median income, and that is restricted in that land use restriction agreement for 45 years. Ultimately, this program, provides affordable housing, which as costs go up, and there's been conversation here about needing incomes to go up and all that kind of thing. Housing has been a huge problem, and the cost to build housing has made that even worse. Interest rates certainly don't help that. These projects, if you can imagine, a silly example maybe, but if you buy a car and it's limited to only drive on this one, it's 40% of area median income. If you were limited to only drive 40 miles an hour, and you had to, because of all the increased costs that we have for these services that we do, you had to change the oil every week, either you wouldn't buy that car or the value of that car would be substantially less. And that's why these projects are, should be evaluated a lot lower. In all due respect to the assessor, in his conversation with you earlier about nobody talking to him in his mind or whatever, nobody from their office reached out to us. And to the contrary, every year we submit a required form to the state, and we also, which is not necessary, but we follow up with each county and say, did you get that form? So we reach out and ask if there's any questions on that. So there was no dialogue back, and this one, as you're probably aware, it was a surprise to me, but went after the normal noticing period and then went to this, I know it's allowed, but I wasn't aware of it until it happened, this extended period to notice that there was a valuation change, again, of 400, I went like this, of 490%. So really, pulling back and looking at this as a whole, this is a huge problem for affordable housing. I actually live in California, but 100%, literally 100% of what I do is all here in Nebraska. And we are working on, we have elderly only homes that are in this program, family homes, which are, or I should say units, family homes that are like this Jack Estates project. We're also on the beginning stages of working on through this program. And I'm telling you this because I'm not going to do it in this county because of this. But we're working, a woman who works with me, her heart is for foster care kids, and because she's adopted a couple of them. And so we're working on putting in Omaha and Lincoln areas through this program, and working with my wife and I volunteer for an organization called Young Life, and working with various organizations like that to help these kids that are aging out of the foster system. Well, if I have an increase of 490%, or if these values on this new project I'm talking about would be at market rate, that's impossible. It's not able to be done. That doesn't speak to Jack Estates specifically, but I'm just saying nobody can do development like this in this county. The end result, if this stays as it is, this project is either going to go into foreclosure, or we won't be able to pay those taxes, and somebody will end up acquiring it via a tax sale. What doesn't change is that land use restriction agreement that is recorded against each one of these parcels. And even if somebody bought it at a tax sale, they'd still have that obligation of charging rents at this level and all the other things that I don't need to repeat for you. So this is a problem, and I know you're aware of this. To what level, I don't know. I have another project in this county that was a part of a larger group that went through this. This one, unfortunately, again, through this, whatever this late noticing period wasn't able to be a part of that. So now this is even more of a burden on this particular project. But we're not able to get any guidance from the assessor's office as to what's going on, why you would increase something that dramatically in a one-year period. There's I'm sure you're aware of this, there is a statute, 77-1333, that does require them to use the income approach on these properties. And that income approach, again, takes into account everything I just said, veteran units and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure I've told you everything you already know, so I don't want to waste your time. Are there any questions?
No, but can I actually fill in a little bit?
Sure.
Just about the situation?
Please, yeah.
So we've had a lot of conversations about this. Okay, this has happened.
Absolutely.
The short version is, and please anybody correct me if you think I'm missing something here. The original legislation that allowed us to give lower valuations to rent-restricted housing was flawed in its creation. What this eventually led to was Turk, the Tax Equalization Review Commission, told us and other counties, no, you can't use the old system anymore. You have to you have to assess them at fair market value, whatever that is, despite the fact that you have this property use agreement that's going for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or whatever. So this year, Lancaster County kind of went first on this. We ended up having to do this with all of our rent-restricted housing, all of our Section 42 housing, and it's been a real blow to the people who run those projects. The fundamental thing is we don't have, statute pretty well ties our hands on this, we don't have the ability to get out of assessing it at this level today. We are pursuing a legislative change in the down at the state legislature. We have our Lancaster County has lobbyists that work for us, and we are working with them. And I would anticipate if it's not our number one, it's very close to our number one priority in the legislature this year. And I know legislation is being drafted to correct this, to return some of the flexibility we had, and just be able to assess these properties at a rate that makes sense for the business, right? Because it's just inherently. So the reality is, I don't know, and I wish I had better news for you than this. I don't know if we can do anything for you today, but there is legislation coming that I think will correct the problem in future years, which isn't a great answer, but that's my understanding of the situation. Yeah. Does anybody else have, is that match what you want?
Yeah.
I appreciate the feedback.
Truthfully, would like to just do it the old way, but it doesn't work anymore.
It was never our intent to harm the affordable housing that we really need.
Yeah. So I guess in that, I would wonder why, while we're trying to clean it up or whatever, and I know that's not okay, sure, well, but look at what is being done now instead of holding it tight where it was, which made sense because this project cash flowed or spun off about $8,000 last year, which allows for unforeseens on things, which is nothing.
Yeah.
But now we're saying, well, you're going to eat $50-some odd thousand. I don't understand why that would be the stance. And I actually I don't know. I don't know. But I'm assuming the heart is not to do that. But that is the reality. And this. I'm not even going to talk about the other things I talked about, but. This project what is done to the valuation is an attack on affordable people at that income level, including veterans and the other people I have in there. I'm not saying that's your fault. I'm sure you guys are caught in the middle, but I also know that there is. I'll just leave it at that. This is super unfortunate and a enormous financial burden that can't be met. I don't have this kind of money to throw at property taxes because somebody thought that there's a glitch in the law. And that law was cleaned. 77-1333 was a cleaned up version of what was in place before. We've been lucky to see people blessed through this program and this project and others. And this is going to take that all away, to be honest.
You got a great attitude, and I wish I had better information for you.
Yeah,
the only thing that I could really suggest is that you do appeal to Turk.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, you have to.
And Turk, here's just the reality of Turk. Turk is slow, but Turk is very favorable to the taxpayer. It's just the truth. Generally speaking, I would say you've got a very good chance of getting this reduced through Turk. Our hands are pretty tied here. The county attorney's office has made that clear, and frankly, Turk has made that clear. But you can still appeal to them. And they have just added another commissioner's spot. There were previously only 3 Turk commissioners. Now we're going to have 4. So we're hoping that increases the speed. We'll see. But and they're like in the process of putting that fourth person on right now.
Isn't this case also before the Supreme Court right now?
This one is not. I do have another project, because this one was noticed late. Now I gotta go through this separately.
But the implications of that project, or the implications of that trial will affect this too.
Right.
It's possible the courts could provide some clarity on this as well, which would be great. Ultimately, I think we still need just a legislative fix, because the original legislation was just.
What, are you able to speak to what the problem with this current legislation is?
Yeah. Boy, help me here. It was.
In general, it's that property owners just tell us how much they make, and that's how valuation is assessed. And they can put random things on. We don't know exactly what income and expenses are being calculated in that, and so there's some concern that wrong things have been put on just
That we're just making stuff.
And because the form you filled out, which I think you know is very basic, and it probably is rightfully so, but that'd be kind of my initial assessment.
I think that's a really good summary of it. Is that basically people were like, look, we can't verify this, and we don't assess income in necessarily other property tax valuations. Is this fair to everybody? There has to be a solution here. And I strongly anticipate one coming in this future legislative session, maybe even with an E-clause on an emergency clause to speed it up. I just don't think it's going to.
I think the first group of people that received this too had valuations at 0 or below.
That was
and so you've been added in now because I'm sorry, I shouldn't just point out you, but another group of people has been revalued because we've realized, hey, I mean,
the formula flipped.
The formula's a little different, right? Like, you know that those properties are probably worth more than $40,000, but it's hard to assess that, right? Because they've got those 45-year, limitations on them.
Yeah.
So,
but that's so. Couple things. One, and I don't even take offense to. I'm submitting a form and I could blow it up and make it seem like, oops, sorry. Hey, I'm not making any money. I get that. The reality is, and that's why conversation is always good, is we have to go through a literal third-party audit on our financials every single year. So if I lied on what I'm literally take that stuff and put it on that form. If I lied on it, that's an easy well, let's see your audit. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, because I actually personally don't do it, the gal that works with me does. But I think we have to include those audits. If not, I mean, don't hold me on that. But we have them, and we have to do that. That's like $4,000. That's another thing. It's like $4,000 a year to do an audit.
Well, and I think that's
those numbers.
Where we kind of landed is, especially with the advice of the assessor's offices, is to say that some properties are valued at 0 makes 0 sense to anybody. It doesn't make sense to us, and there are legitimate tax implications to providing infrastructure and fire response and things like that. Then there's no participation from those, especially those $0 ones.
Yeah, and I don't even disagree with that, because mine wasn't 0. Mine was, I think it was like, I don't know, 48,000 per house. It was another, coincidentally, 15 houses, and so 0, yes, doesn't make sense. But, looking at anything with a microscope, you can look at simply a valuation on something and say, what? But because I think an argument I heard was that, well, it's bare land would be valued at that or more. But bare land also doesn't allow people who can't afford housing to live there. And they go and they buy stuff at the grocery store and pay sales tax, and as that dollar floats through the community, blah, blah, blah. So, but I do hear you. Something that's valued at 0 makes no sense.
Right. Yeah.
But there is something in the current legislation that does allow that assessor to have conversation with somebody if that's the case. And unfortunately, that didn't take place, as much as it sounds like he wants to have communication about things. So,
And I would just add that, there have been a lot of nuances to this. So first off, thank you for coming here and sharing this, because this information is helpful, and for the manner in which you've shared it.
Sure.
Very educational. There is pressure because, and Sean, you'll know better than I do, the state constitution declares that there has to be equitable assessment of properties, so it's a responsibility that's out there. Other entities who are not in your program were going, look at these properties valued at zero, as Commissioner Schulte shared. And how is that a thing? We need to be included in this group because we have, you know, they had their reasons.
Sure.
That kind of drove it to a head
Mhm.
and forced a decision. And we want an equitable outcome as badly as anybody. And
Mhm.
we're hoping that the courts or the legislature will give us, and that will allow you to continue to do the great work you're doing in
And
our
we're
community.
We're spending our lobbying resources to try to make that happen in this upcoming legislative session.
Yeah.
The timing also was really unfortunate because this all kind of came to a head earlier this year after bill introduction was done, which meant we couldn't get anything done this year.
Yeah. I guess I would, and I don't know who has the ability to influence that, but for communication's sake, because I mean, we all, I'm not even gonna say we all, I ignorantly walk into things thinking, oh, I know what, is going on, but I have no idea until I'm literally sitting there. So similarly, whoever these lobbyists are, I would hope and encourage and invite conversation with those of us on because there are things, I mean, one thing that did come up early on, not with this project, but with the group, was that, well, we'll just do a normalized cost on things. Well, some of these, as when you submit the application and how you finance it, one of these, and both of these are in Waverly, literally intermixed amongst each other. But on one project, I pay the utilities, and on the other one, I don't. So there is a difference in cost on one project versus the other. It may look like, if you look at it at first glance, well, this guy's jacking up his utility costs, but I'm stuck to doing that because that's how it was submitted and approved. So
Leave your contact information with Christy or Dave here, our staff.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that ongoing conversations are had.
That'd be great.
That you
Thank
have
you.
opportunity to just talk to people and give your perspective.
Yeah. I've already told you everything I know, so it's going to be dead silence from here. I'm kidding. So, but I appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So
We appreciate you coming before us
okay.
this morning.
Yeah. So any other questions, or you're going to surprise me with great news here pretty soon? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next testifier on this public hearing is going to be Zooming in, correct?
Oh, I don't know.
This is Mike Snyder regarding the Bridgeport Apartments and the Waterbrook Apartments.
So, Mike Snyder, eliminating the remote Zoom login, really appreciate it.
So we are hearing you now, and you are live, so please proceed.
Before
sorry. Wait, you'll need to be sworn in.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Great. I'm going to offer you the oath if you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Michael Snyder, and I'm here on the Waterbrook and Bridgeport properties, affordable housing properties. And I really thank you for the opportunity to speak and to remote in via Zoom. I'd love to be there in person, but this has been able to help me to get here and speak to you a little bit easier. I echo the sentiments that have already been laid out before you by the earlier gentleman. The only thing that I would really add is that my understanding was that all of these properties were intended to be valued based on their actual income, and that's what the statute actually requires. And so we have filed our actual income and expenses, the audited actual income expenses with the states, and we've submitted those again to the county as well. And really what we're just asking for is to be valued using that methodology as to the market approach that was really utilized in these two instances. I understand that, that may not, the Board of Equalization may not share the same, interpretation of that particular statute. And can appreciate that. But really, I think that 77-1333 dictates that actual income and expense be utilized. And so really that's what we're requesting at this hearing, is that, our actual and expense that we have submitted be utilized along with the capitalization rate that was calculated by the state. And that's really all I have to add. We do have Sean James that has assisted us with this property. So, Sean, if there's anything else that should be added or you feel we should be added, I appreciate it at this time.
Well, I understand that the property was originally correctly assessed using the income, but then it changed after that. These are LIHTC properties. They do qualify for the 1333. I'm asking you to reconsider that and put them back at the actual value required by the statute. The other things that I could raise, you already know. And I was very grateful to hear that you are working with the legislature to get this statute corrected so that other properties that are low income and assist the state and the cities by providing healthy, safe, affordable housing can also qualify for special treatment. That's all I have to say, but I will answer any questions if you have them.
Are there any questions from the board? Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today and to allow us to hear your concerns. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during this time? We will now close the public hearing.
Commissioners, the next public hearing I have is the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. They are for Bryan Medical Center, Lighthouse, Sister Mary Queen of Mercy, St. Peter Catholic Church of Lincoln, Pius X High School, Mercy City Church, Christ Lutheran Church, Vital Services Incorporated, Lincoln Lutheran School Association, New Bethel Bible Way Apostolic Church, Temple Church, and the Bridge Behavioral Health Incorporated.
We will now open the public hearing on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on these tax exempt applications today? Seeing none, we will close the hearing.
Item 6, action on the following. 6A, protest of notice of assessed valuation changes for property taxation purposes. I'll go ahead and read all three for Jack Estates LP, Bridgeport Apartments, and Waterbrook Apartments.
Move we deny the valuation changes.
Unfortunately, that is the truth, and I would second that.
Let's just, I'm going to just ask the question. You know, these folks came into the party later because this process started at a certain point, and then in the review of properties, Section 42 properties similar, then these were discovered and added on. And I know we don't have Dan this morning here, so we do have John. Do we have any legs to say that we will not approve the change in valuation this morning? And I'm asking, I'm not.
We have legs to say we won't?
What?
No, that you will.
That we would approve the protests. And I mean, I get it, everything we've been told says we can't, but John.
We have the county attorney's office coming forward here.
I just,
sorry, I'm going to just echo what Dan has said before. It would be against the current statutory scheme, and as one of you at least mentioned, the people who filed the protest can appeal to Turk. Hopefully, this could get worked out, and they could perhaps involve some sort of retroactive evaluation as well to take care of these things. But my position is going to be the same as Dan's, that the board does have to deny the protest.
These votes never feel good when we're tied
John,
like this.
just to follow that, I mean, I guess, and Dan's been very consistent, and you've been very consistent. That's no, there's no no difference because of the timing. That doesn't qualify as any.
I don't believe it changes anything.
All right. And thank you for answering that. I did want to ask. And I get that nobody wanted to make this motion
Yeah.
or second it. Let's be clear. Nobody wanted to be the one doing this.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Vest,
And to be clear, we're denying the protest.
Yep.
That's the motion.
The motion was
Yes.
denied.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
No.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Item 6B, action on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval of the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak in items related to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone wishing to speak on any items relating to the County Board of Equalization that is not on our agenda? Seeing none,
Move we adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen, Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. We're adjourned.